Right, just letting people in. And how have everybody else been? You want to unmute yourselves and speak to me?
Yeah, we've been all right, Emma. It's been long hours in January, and I have to say, not being in the same building as everybody else has proved challenging. But we've made it, and I don't know how we've done it, but this year we've about 1/6 of our tax returns had tax refunds on it. So we're doing our level best here to bankrupt the country and frustrate the Chancellor.
There'll be lots of very happy clients, I imagine.
Yeah, I think they're all delighted. I think that, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the look forward and reducing the payments on account that's sort of generated it. I don't know. It's just been an odd year where 1 in 6 of our tax returns have all got refunds on.
Wow.
Very odd. Not huge refunds by any means, hundreds of pounds, but better than paying any other way, I suppose.
Yes, definitely. Okay, well, I'll be letting people in as we go along, but I thought, well, let's just start.
My apologies. I'm gonna have to nip out in about 10 minutes. Rachel's got to drop her mum to the hospital to get vaccinated. So all very exciting in our family. Yeah,
it's important, isn't it? It's really important if we can get that sorted for people. That's one of the key things to get sorted. Right, so today, obviously, I left you all alone in January because I know everybody's busy in one way or another, or, you've got family commitments, and we've all been picking up the slack, really, of all the other stuff in the year that sort of got put to one side because of COVID and loans and furlough and all that other stuff. But I thought, well, now we're back into February. Now is the time to sort of just refocus and have a think. So I really want to just start this session by making you just stop and think for a minute. I've put 2 new resources in System Builder today. The first one is called Feeling Safe. And it's for you and for your team and for your clients. And it's about actually helping people feel safe and feel in control. So if I just share my screen and I open the Feeling Safe one. There we go. Can you all see it there? It's called the Safety Score Tracker. Okay, and it actually came from Andrew Miller, one of our practice growth experts. It was something that he does in his business enjoyment sessions. But I thought it was really interesting to actually help people realize that those people that are very anxious, those people who are feeling really stressed, to start thinking properly about what's going on in their life. And to think clearly about, putting things a little bit in perspective. And so there is, underneath all of this, there is a key to explain what we want to talk about. Okay, so it starts here with the business finances. So what is it now? And what do you want it, what do you think it will be? And actually what could impact that? What are the bits that you're worried about? Where do you think are the issues that might come into play that could affect how you feel about the safety of your business? Because if you are aware of them, then you can start planning for that. You can start putting those aside, and you can also evaluate how real those threats are, and how worrying they are. So it's there is the business finances, but then also people worry about their personal finances, and this is where it can come into real use for perhaps for working with your team, or clients, or even family or whatever, because sometimes people have been very worried. There's people who lost jobs. There's been people whose businesses have seriously dropped in income, but there are some that it's grown or that have got a lot more work. And again, it's about managing that and saying, okay, how important is that? Yesterday it was really interesting. I was on a business enjoyment meeting with Andrew, and we'd got lots of different business owners in there. I'm the only accountant, and actually there were quite a few of these smaller businesses where when they actually looked at their worry about personal finances and reviewed it, what they needed to live on wasn't as much as they thought they needed. And so it made a difference to their next, what's called mental health, the next couple of ones down, because they could make proper decisions about their job. So for example, there is in the group, there is a photographer who has won a pitch, which could earn him a huge amount of money. It's for 26 photo shoots, okay? But 5 shoots in, he's finding the work is not being taken seriously by the person who's contracted him. And therefore, they're constantly questioning whether he's doing a good job. Well, he's got a lot of artistic value to what he delivers. He's not just photoing for catalogues, he's actually trying to convey something about the client that he's doing. And so he's very passionate about it. And so we had a lot of discussion about the fact that, you know, yes, there was this money on the table, this contract that he got for stuff, but actually it was damaging him mentally because he was so stressed doing the job because of a key person in the company that's contracted him. So we were giving him advice about how to deal with that person, but we were also making him sit back and actually think about, was it worth it? Because he wasn't, the money thing partly made him feel safe, but actually the worry about the money thing was actually causing him more stress and taking safety out of his equation. So it was a really interesting thought about that. So making people think about, you know, what's happening, why will it be higher, why will it be lower, but also how they worry about it. Physical health, obviously, we've all got quite a lot of worries about the COVID and other, you know, things going around. But actually, again, asking people to be a bit more conscious about their physical well-being, particularly. I've contacted Val Wishart today because she's a qualified yoga instructor, and I've said to her, but being sat in front of this computer all day, my neck and my shoulders and my back are really hurting. And it's because I am not actually getting out and doing the physical stuff that I should be doing, because I am constantly in front of Zoom talking to people. And so it's about what can we do to change that. Same with mental health. You know, we've been under a lot of stress. So what impacts those scores, and is it real? Because again, we have a lot of worries that not necessarily are real. And then our environment, what is our personal environment like? So do we feel safe in our working environment? And, you know, I think this has come up before in our conversations. When we've got team who are working from home, are they in a safe environment? You know, have they got a safe place to be, to do this work for you, you know, where they're not getting disrupted, or they're not getting pushed around in some way or whatever else, helping them in that environment. And then what have they got as their personal support network, and how does that make them feel safe? And what have they got as their business support network? So, you know, I would hope that AVN is seen as part of your business support network that gives you that support. So this is a resourcing system builder. I think it's worth you looking at to see whether or not you want to use it yourself, use it for your team, give it to your family members, perhaps give it to your clients, you know, just to help people. And it's to do as a tracker. So that's why you've got a date. So as of today, this is what my scores were. And then maybe in 4 weeks' time, what are my scores now? Because we talk a lot about goals, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. And the idea is to try and help you measure stuff. You know, we have a one-page plan for our business, and this is a bit like our one-page plan for ourselves in our safety needs. So I just wanted to point out really that this resource is there for you, because it's really a nice key resource to support you. The second one that I've added today is called the goal review. Okay, so again, I'm just going to share my screen and bring up the document. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that we are really good at setting goals for ourselves. And Shane's probably going to hate me for this, but I have a bit of a challenge with goals. I think you have a little similar thing to me, that goals are often something that feels almost unobtainable. You know, we set these sort of high aspirations for ourselves, And you know, we're not sure that actually they are achievable. And so what I want to do is just give you a little bit of a stop moment. And I would like you to take some action. So that's why I put on my email to bring you pen and pad. Okay. Because I want you to just stop now and think about the last 12 months. Okay. Not about your goals, because, you know, there's been all sorts of things that have knocked us off kilter for those. But actually, what has happened in the last 12 months, let's say 12 months, okay? There are a lot of great things that have happened to you. There are a lot of things that you have achieved. There are a lot of things that I think you have stepped up and done that if you'd have thought about doing this stuff 12 months ago, you would have never done it. I know so many people who 12 months ago, the thought of being on camera, on Zoom, constantly was absolutely horrific. You know, said to me, I can't possibly present. I can't possibly do a little video for my website. I can't possibly do a little YouTube video to give out to clients or promote my business. I can't possibly be on camera. I look bad. I sound bad. You know, my environment's a bit chaotic, like mine is, you know, and we've all managed to deal with this in our own ways, and made it such a great thing. So I just want to just stop a minute. I mean, and I would like you to download this after today, but I've given you a document here just for a few minutes. I'd just like you to write down, when you think about the last 12 months, just think first of all about yourself, about your health and your home. So how am I today? Okay. Am I well? You know, have I managed to get through COVID? Have I managed to avoid COVID? Have I actually managed to get to see the doctor that I never thought I would be able to? You know, have I looked at myself and thought, oh, do you know what? There are key things here that I have been able to look at. So you might have said, well, you know, during lockdown, I've actually done more exercise because I've made myself go out and walk, and I've noticed my garden last year. My garden was the best it had ever been. Or I did the RSPB bird watch this weekend, and it was lovely to hear the birds singing. You know, I've managed to convert my spare bedroom into an office, and surround myself with positive things that mean I can be great at my job. So health and home, just stop a minute. I'm just going to give you a minute to just think about that. And it would be really nice if in the chat you could just share perhaps one thing that you think is something that is better. When you look back over the last 12 months, something about your health in your home that you've achieved and you're proud of, or you've made better in some way. So I'm just going to give you a minute. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, I think a lot of people, I mean, there are two sides on it. People who've got a lot more exercises, and those of us that probably didn't get as much as we should. But that's fine, isn't it? It's about other things that you've had chance to do. I mean, for example, it's been really nice for me that I've had the chance to be able to walk my dog. Because if I was in the office, I wouldn't have time. In fact, I'd probably take him to a dog walker for the day so that I wouldn't see him. Brilliant. Yeah, calmer. Isn't that interesting? Well done, and it's about, yeah, what is it that we're more focused? Look at that. Moved house and got a new puppy. Yeah, that less time traveling to meetings. And probably most of you have actually found that those business meetings have been fine. You know, you found other ways of doing it. Oh, well done, Phil. He's been exercising loads. I love that. Now it's helped my mum to redecorate the house the way she wanted. And more cardio. You see, and this is nice stuff, and you need to think about that. And I'm sure that if you were given more time, you will be able to think about perhaps ways that you'd had time with your children, grandchildren, if you've had chance to get, the things that you've managed to do in all sorts of different ways, lots of little ones. Yeah, dogs have been quite a big thing, haven't they, Joseph? Yeah, yeah. I wish I'd perhaps not got quite so boisterous one. Yeah, Wendy, you have done it all. It's true, isn't it? And I think we've actually, when you look back and you think of how much stuff we've been juggling, but how we've managed to somehow look after our families. And I think sometimes the balance, last year, what it did, a lot of us, it made us rethink what was important in our lives, and to start thinking about, how we wanted to spend time. When you can't spend time with people for various reasons, it makes you think about what is valuable to spend, who it is valuable to spend your time with, and the things that you want to do. So yes, Keith, I have put them in System Builder. Yeah. So it's important, I think, to look at that. So now let's go on to the second one. So the second one is personal finances. Okay, so this is something that I just want you to think about. Okay, have you managed to take out enough money for yourself this year? Have you managed to be financially secure? Things about, and think about it, what's your personal balance sheet like? Have you thought about that sort of key stuff? One of the things is looking back and realizing how much money you need. We talked about this a bit earlier, but also then setting your goal for the future. Okay, and being aware of that. But also, you've managed your money. At the beginning of lockdown, at the first time, wasn't it? We all rushed to the supermarkets and bought our million toilet rolls and pasta and all the rest of it. But since then, probably personal balance sheet has improved. I needed less than I thought. That's true, Christopher. I've been the same. It's been really interesting. I looked at my bank account yesterday, obviously, because first of the month, and I thought, gosh, I've got more money in there than I thought. And that's because I've not been spending it on stuff. I've not been out and about. And I mean, unfortunately, we've not had holidays to spend it on, but there are other things, aren't there? And it's allowed us to think, perhaps pay more off our mortgage, or, clear out loans, or do stuff that actually could help us. So think about that and be proud of yourself that, you're okay. Even if it's been tough, even if it's been a challenge, we're here and we're safe. So the third thing then is business finances and growth. So just a couple of minutes to think about what's been happening in your business in the last year. I think a few people were very worried, that a lot of clients would go under, that we would be in trouble. But one of the things you've all done is you've seriously stepped up as business advisors, and you've really given support for people. And I've been so proud when I've heard the stories and I've seen what's been going on with people. It's been wonderful to see. And I've also seen that so many more of you are attracting great clients from all sources, and I know people talk about organic growth, but I don't believe in organic growth. I believe that stuff happens because of the work that you've been doing. I believe that, and it may take a while to kick off, but, some of you have had such tremendous uptake from your marketing ideas. It's been fantastic for you to see this happening. So think about your business and think about, at the beginning of lockdown, back last March, we were a bit worried. We were a bit worried that we might have some challenges, or that we'd lose clients, or clients wouldn't be able to pay us, or all the rest of it. And actually, so many of our clients have actually wanted support. And at the beginning, we gave a lot of stuff away for free because we were so dedicated to helping these businesses stay alive. But now people are seeing that value. They are appreciating that support, and you are growing. So not everybody straight away, and I know it depends what's been going on with the business, but even in tiny steps, I want you to recognize that you've been doing things properly, you know, and even if that's, you know, organizing your own bounce back loan to make sure that you feel safe financially in the business, that's a good thing to think about. You achieved that, you know. So make some notes about this, make some notes about what you've been doing, because it's really important to remember where you were 12 months ago and where you are now. Because if you could be that person 12 months ago, would you have believed you'd be in this position now? So just think about that. The next one is the team. So first of all, I'd say if you don't have team, I'd like you to think about perhaps the people you outsource or the people that support you in other ways. You know, sometimes that can be family, to be honest, if they're supporting you. And again, up here, I've put some ideas about things, you know, but a lot of people, you've had some great successes with your team. Your team have really stepped up. Your team, you have managed your team and supported them so well. You know, you've been doing mental support as well as, you know, helping them with the work and stuff. I know so many of you have become semi-counselors, helping people, supporting them, giving them ideas, giving them, you know, support in lots of ways, being flexible about their working hours. You know, particularly now at the moment, I'm homeschooling. It's a challenge when you've got a full-time job. You know, how do you manage that? And I think again, they've been really supportive. There's so many have stepped up. But on the other hand, I know there's some of you that have really got rid of some of those terrorists, have made it, you know, and I think that's a massive achievement when you've had somebody that has almost destroyed you because of the way that they've behaved and perhaps, I don't know, fed out bad feelings around the rest of the team. The fact that you've dealt with this, you know, is really important. So again, thinking about that. Christopher's put, the team have helped me get better at marketing. Isn't that great? So the team actually sometimes we found ways of engaging the team differently. And that partly, I think, again, because they've been in a different environment. Some have been in the office, haven't they? Some have been at home. They've had to think a little bit outside the box. And I think possibly they've become more aware of the value you are delivering. You know, them personally, they're delivering, but you as a company are delivering to clients, and probably being a bit smarter. I know quite a lot of people whose team have really helped with things like pricing, who have really helped with that, selling those additional services because they've been able to have that relationship with clients. But that's happened because you've supported them, because you've engaged them, you've trained them. Okay. And you know, we do lots of stuff on team things, but I know that you've been absolutely amazing on this. So again, remind yourself, you know, again, what have you done that's engaged your team? How have you helped your team? How have your team reacted? You know, if you've outsourced, how's that worked? What has looked better? I mean, I know an awful lot of people who, you know, even if you've done the very simple thing, like, you know, at the very beginning when we do clarity, we do the what I actually do diary. I know people who have just from that one little thing have been able to delegate to team, and team have really stepped up. Yeah, it's great. Strong leadership and having the team step up, it makes such a difference. So you think about that. And please don't think I am not a great team leader. Some of you feel like, oh, well, it's not down to me, is it? They're just great. They just get on with it. But they get on with it because you give them the confidence to be able to do that. You allow them to step up. And, you know, you don't micromanage them. You let them get on with stuff. So, you know, there's lots of different ways of leading your team. And you know, I'm one of those leaders that leads from behind, which is one of those weird things. You know, I encourage people and I try and push them up to, you know, fulfill their potential as opposed to leading from the front. There's different ways, but I think you've done a lot of stuff. The next group of people I want you to think about what you've achieved is the other people around you. Who else have you been helping, supporting, looking after, influencing, making a difference to? You know, I know that a lot of you support B1G1 and do other things, but then a lot of you have also been supporting other family members, like the wonderful, you know, doing the decorating for your mum. That's brilliant. So there's lots of other people. I've put here clients, family or friends, and take credit for the fact that you do stuff. I know a lot of you just go, we just do that. you know, I often, with my mum and dad, I go and see them at least once a week, and I do stuff for them, but it doesn't feel like it's anything big. It doesn't feel like it's anything major, but they always say to me, "Oh, Emma, we couldn't cope without you." And I think, well, I'm just being me. But they mean it, I know, and there is that help, that the knowing that you've got people around you, and that people you've helped. So, for example, for me is that I have set up and started filming my church masses on a Sunday, so that the elderly in our parish who can't come into church, it's not been safe for them, we've made sure their family members are with them with their phones, watching a live stream on Zoom, so that they can be part of the mass at our church. Now, I did that because I was worried about people not coming to church, but actually there's probably about, I would say, what do we get? We probably get about 30 on a Saturday and another 30 on a Sunday that join us, as well as the people in church, and those people wouldn't be able to come to mass, and for them it's a big thing. So I need to acknowledge that I've made that difference, and I think that's the same with you. When you've done these little things, you need to just acknowledge that you're doing this stuff, these little things. Yeah, supporting a friend with depression, that's right. And there are people out there, aren't there, it's been really tough. And even if you've rung people, I mean, I don't know how many of you, I did put it up on our website. You know that I'm a big fan of this Action for Happiness, and it's Friendly February this year, and it's all about just checking in with people. It's just about making sure that you support people, and it's the same, isn't it? It's like, watching out for a neighbour, going and getting somebody shopping for them. I'm sure we've all been doing things like that. Yeah, and it's true. Yeah, and it's about being aware about making sure that, as well as you looking after the people, they're looking after you. So that could be the other way around. Who has been helping you? Who has supported you? What positive influence have they had on you? I've had some great people who've recommended some great books, some great audio books to me over the last 12 months that have really made a difference to the way I think about things. So it's really positive, isn't it? Then we're going to look at business operations. This is going to be an easy one for you. You know this stuff. So this is about, what have you done in the last 12 months that actually has really improved the way that your business runs? I know lots of you have been putting in software, a lot of you have been putting in systems, a lot of you have actually thought about the structure of your business, and a few of you have completely restructured your team to sort of make sure that you've got the right people in the right seats doing the right jobs, and looked about how you need to develop that business in the future because of your other business goals. But I know a lot of you have taken on software. I know a lot of you have gone paperless. I know a lot of you have been doing e-sign. And, I remember being on one of these the other day, and somebody said to me, you know what, never in a million years would I have got my clients to do e-sign documents. But now they're all doing it. And they've realized how easy it is. And think of the time that's saving. I got somebody the other day who said to me, you realize that the amount of time you waste just moving from one piece of software to another, and the amount of times he goes in and out and in and out and in and out of bits of software, and you're thinking, okay, so what are you going to do about it? Finding a way. So I'm pretty sure most of you have come up with ways of making your business run better, operationally things being better. I know we've had a really stressful January. We've probably had a stressful year, to be honest, but think about it, how you've taken on the dealing with furloughs, how you've taken on all the bank stuff, all the bounce back loans, how you've taken on the fact that the government has changed the message, like that. 1 minute the schools are open, the next minute the schools are shut. 1 minute we've got no funding coming through, furloughs ending, next minute it's all back on again. It's great. So, just keep focusing on that. That's brilliant, Wendy. Systems, restructure, Zoom meetings, Slack, generally looking out and supporting each other and not afraid to ask for support and sharing your experience and knowledge. Brilliant. Yeah, Christopher's getting onto the 6-star road. Well done, Christopher. Clearing old paper, e-signs, redoing the website, reviewing my software. Exactly. So there's lots of stuff that I'm sure you're all doing. So I'd like to think about that. And then the last one is about personal growth. So what have you learnt about yourself in the last year? Okay. And what can you put in there that means that actually you realize that you have been strong, you have learned stuff, you've taken on board stuff. You know, there are things that you've been doing. I know you have. A lot of you have done some personal growth stuff. It's really interesting. I'm reading a book at the moment, and I've mentioned it to a couple of people. It's called I Am Enough, by Marissa Peer. And it's all about the fact that the way you use language yourself. But one of the things that I really liked is she says that, you know, when you're in a panic and you're in stressed, you need to think about the fact that up to now, you know, nobody's dead. You haven't killed anybody. You haven't caused anybody major pain. You've not really messed up, whatever. Actually, you've done really well. And she says you should remember that, you know, in this case, I've got phenomenal coping skills. Yeah, I'm juggling homeschooling, running a family, working full time, doing training videos, planning for a masterclass. And actually, I do have extraordinary coping skills because I'm coping with it all. But sometimes you just think, I can't cope, but actually you are. And there's a lot of things I think we've been doing for personal growth. We've read a lot of books. I know a lot of you have been listening to great podcasts. Adrian, what did he mention the other day that I wanted to tell you all about? I don't know. I'll have to find it. I'll put it on the chat afterwards. But there's some great podcasts out there where people are just helping you remind yourself that, you know, you've started to value yourself. You understand where you are. I mean, Adrian posted, didn't he, on the Facebook group the other week about the fact that he'd, you know, had a conversation with a client and dealt with it and actually got a really great result because he valued himself. You know, I posted about a member the other day who dealt with an abusive client and dealt with it properly and showed great leadership skills. Now, I'm pretty certain that would have been a bit of a challenge 12 months ago, but now that person knows their worth. So it's about putting that stuff in. It's about being aware of those things. So I just wanted to show you these two new resources that are in System Builder, because I think it is time to take stock, okay? And then once you've taken stock, okay, once things are, and you've got a clear picture, you can remind yourself of all the good stuff you've been doing. Now, then is the time to actually think about how we're going to move forward, okay? So what I want to think about then is all that positivity that we can take from the fact that we have grown and we have had some really positive stuff through an absolutely challenging year. I mean, we all know it's been very, very unusual last 12 months. Now is the time to start thinking about where you want to move forward to. So if you haven't done it, or you haven't done it for a while, I want you to go to System Builder again, and you'll find there is a document called Clarity, your 24-hour goal setting tool, which is the 24-hour goal setting tool that we've adapted for members to use on themselves, okay? And just rethink what your goals are, and try not to think, you know, you've got a long-term goal, I understand that. You might, you know, it might be buy that house by the lake, it might be retire in 5 years, and that's great. And keep those in mind because they're our long-term goal, but they're a while away. So what I want you to do is start thinking about what's your next 12 months goal? What are the steps we're going to take? If you want to retire in 5 years' time, what do we need to do in the next 12 months to make that work? Okay, what is it we have to do? Is that get a business that's financially viable or is on a path to growth? Is that find somebody that you want to take on as the next partner and take that business forward for you? Whatever it is, find a way. So in that workbook, I want, you know, in that document that's in System Builder, I want you to just again think about your goals, but think about them in much more small steps that we can then measure over the next 12 months. Okay, not those far attainable, yeah, I'll think about it sometime, yeah, I'm getting there in the end, because you do need those because they're the vision, they're the end game. But if you're constantly measuring yourself against the end game and we're not actually planning to move towards that this year because there's something else that's more important, that's just demoralizing. So let's think about, what do we want to achieve in the next 12 months? And as part of that, obviously, if you remember, we've got a resource in System Builder called Defining Your Why and Your Values. So if you're not sure about these, if you've not done that, or you've not visited that for a while, please go back and just review it, because it's really important. So as we move forward and we try and work out what our focus is for the next 12 months, okay, what do we want to be able to say when we do that goal review again next in 12 months time, and we look back, out of all those things, what do we want to say? You know, personally, what do we want to say we've grown in or achieved? In our business, what do we want to say we've achieved? With our team, what do we think we want to have, you know, achieved? Personal growth, how do we want to achieve? So you need to make sure your goals are not purely business focused. Okay, they are around everything that affects you, and make sure that it's, you know, what are your goals that's going to engage your family. And that's why we have business and personal goals, and we ask you to do as many of them as you possibly can. And at this moment in time, I don't need them to be completely smart. I just want to know how it would feel. What is the outcome that you want to feel in 12 months' time? We can make it smart, or you can make it smart with your practice growth expert afterwards, but it's about thinking about that, really. And if you're going to be thinking about that, you know, perhaps having a business that is in a fit state to sell in 5 years' time or 3 years' time, or you want a business that, you know, is seen as one of the best, you want to be up there with the top 50 firms as being up, the name up there, whatever, then look at AVN Excellence. Go into System Builder and self-assess yourself. Have a look at how you're doing against those criteria, because those criteria are there to help put all those foundations in place and have that plan to make your business something that would be valuable to anybody, not just to yourself. So think about that. The other thing is, obviously, once we've looked at the vision and we've looked at, and you've thought about what your goals are, I want you to try and find something visual for yourself. You know, I know we've talked about this before. People are auditory, visual, kinesthetic. So, you know, some people think about what they see, some hear, some how they feel. But whichever you are, I still think you need something visual. Okay, so when you've thought about what you want to achieve in the next 12 months, either write it down and have it on a board. Shane and his family, they set their goals on the 1st of January every year, and the kids as well, and they do a big mind map each of what they're going to do, and then they print it out and they frame it, and it's in the kitchen. They walk past it every day. Every month they check in on each other to see what they need to do to achieve their goals. So it can be something written, it could be a mind map, it could be a photograph of something. You could just make a board with pictures that make you feel the way you want to feel in 12 months' time. But think about the steps you're going to need to get there, because what we want to do is encourage you and keep saying, well done. You know, and so part of our job as practice growth coaches will be to question you about some of these goals you're setting yourself and how we're going to measure them. Okay, so make sure you've got some real clear things. The other thing I wanted to just point out to you was in Coach Accountable. Now, I know not all of you are using it, but if you're not, please get on it. It's really great. It's a really good tool. Obviously, we're using it to help manage actions as part of the roadmap process. But you can add all your own actions, but you can also add your own measures. So again, if I just share my screen a second. And I open my desktop. I'm hoping you can all see Coach Accountable here. So this is my tester group. So this is what, you see, hopefully it's what you see. Okay. And I want to just show you down here in metrics. You can create metrics or for anything else. So, you know, if one of your metrics, like on a one-page plan, is income, that could be personal income, that could be business income, well, you could track it on here. And all you need to do is tell it what you want to track. And it's really simple. You just add a thing, you just give it a name, happiness, how you're going to measure it on a scale of 1 to 10. Starting today, I'm going to do it for 20 weeks or however long you want. Okay. And I want to check in on myself. I'm going to say, on an arbitrary basis. Okay, so I'm just regularly, and what will happen is if you want to, it will get you to reminder. So if I can send me a reminder, it will send me an email, or I can send me a text to just tell me, fill in this number. And if I haven't entered a value in 10 days, it'll send me a text and I can create that. Okay, and that just means that I can put in my happiness today. Unfortunately, I'm doing a score out of 10. I'm going to put a 9. Okay, and I can put a comment why. Yeah, and then that saves it. And I've now got a tracker. And you can do that on anything. So I've put income, got happiness. Could be making a difference. How do you feel you're doing? You could do like perhaps, you know, if you're not tracking through B1G1 because you want to be giving to other charities, then perhaps this is another way of tracking it. Okay. I've got one here, failing miserably, as you can see, taking quiet time for myself every day. So tracking that and making sure that I put some key information on there. So those goals that you set, if some of them you want to track them, then please use the metrics section. This is your software to use as you like, okay? We're using it to just record the session notes so that you know what we've been talking about and the actions, but it's all for you to use. So I mentioned in the previous one that the whiteboards are there. You can just create a whiteboard to put your goals on there, to make sure that, you know, there's something there, and if you want, you choose whether or not you want to make that visible to your PGE. But if they can see it, then they can support you with it. You can create journals to see what's been going on. So think about what you want to do and additional actions. So if you've set up your own, you can set up a whole section here. So we've got the roadmaps, but if you wanted to, you could create an action. And this is personal goals. Goal 1, okay. And I might say, right, I want to have done it by the 28th of February. And I can create my own project. So I can say, right, my project is personal goals. Okay. And I want it to remind me a day before it's due so that I know it's due. Well, I'm actually going to say I'm going a week before. And I can put any comments in, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, whatever else, and I add action. That then appears. So it appears in my actions now. I've got my personal goals look. I obviously created one before. And it appears in my sections here. So I've got loads of things here that you could use to help you manage that, as well as using your Practice Growth Expert. Okay. So I have loads of action resources and other tools that I want to share with you, but I'm conscious that it would be best if I could be sharing with you ones that resonate the most. So over the next few weeks, whether you've got a call booked or not with your Practice Growth Expert, please put your goals up on Coach Accountable. I can't see them, okay? Your Practice Growth Expert can. If you want to share them with me because you want me to address some of those issues, then please just email me. You know, I've got some people who've decided that actually they've got a growth plan this year. There are lots of accountancy firms that want to sell. And one of the easiest ways to grow your practice might be to buy another one. Well, if that's on your agenda, let me know. We've got resources and tools around how to plan for that, how to make sure you actually have put everything in place to make the best deal for yourself and get the best clients out of it. You know, it might be that you've actually thinking, well, my pricing's a bit off at the moment. Well, go and benchmark yourself again. Talk to us. You know, let's have a discussion. We could just have a discussion on pricing. And and the challenges there. So I think that I'd really like your feedback on that, because that would be really helpful. So please email me about that. That would be really great. My goal is that next week, unless you tell me otherwise, I'm going to talk about the tools that you've got to help you be more proactive. I know you've been being very proactive, but there's loads of stuff in System Builder that we can already use, some ready to use, ready to go, autoresponders and things like that, that we can make sure that we take the hard work out of continuous communication with our clients and our prospects. Because I think it's been proven, hasn't it, this year, that the more you communicate, the more you stay in contact with your clients and your prospect, the better relationships they are and the better leads you get. You know, I've had quite a few people that I've been speaking to recently who've got some of their best leads because that person has spoken to an existing client. They've been somewhere else, they've been on another webinar and they've made a connection. And maybe they've looked at their website and gone, oh, that looks interesting, and made the connection there. So I want us to find an easy way next week. I want to talk about easy ways of just planning all of that stuff, so it's all in the bag. We don't have to worry about it. We can then put in any ones that are timely on top of that, but we've made that job of marketing to our existing clients and to prospects much simpler. So that's what I want to focus on there. And then the following week, again, depending on whether or not you want me to change this, I want us to talk about pricing for the next set of accounts for clients. I want us to think about some of the pitfalls that could happen when pricing, and how we add value to those clients. And just remembering as well that I'm hearing a lot of really great clients. I'm hearing about some clients that have really thrived in the last 12 months. They are out there, some really either entrepreneurial businesses or businesses that have really stepped up to the changes in the way people are buying, making decisions about buying. And so we need to add value to those. We need to give them something a bit different to engage them. So has anybody got any questions, or anybody got any thoughts, or would like to share anything before we finish? Because I'm going to finish a little bit early today. I know you're probably still a bit tired. So any comments in the comment box, guys?
I was just going to say, Emma, like you, I don't like the word goal. It's wrong for me. I prefer the word project.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
So much easier, because goals is all about, you know, too much association with sport, and it just doesn't work. But the word project does, because that implies steps immediately. Whereas goal is a one-off, Hail Mary, here we go type of thing in my head. That's just how it is. But a project, nah.
And I think
you have little folders, and then.
Yeah, that's really good as well, because a project sort of has a short-term end date as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And you're allowed to fail at projects, aren't you? Whereas you're not allowed to fail at goals.
Yeah.
Feel bad. Whereas actually, if you come up with a project and it doesn't work quite the way you thought, that's okay. You've learned from it, haven't you?
Yeah, and then you can look at what you did well, what was interesting about it, and afterwards, oh dearie me, I shouldn't have done that. The negative, PIN, positive, interesting, negative, and that seems to work better for me. So one reason I'm calmer.
Well done. No, that's a really great insight. Thank you. Who else has got something to add? Come on, guys. Ladies, I know you've been doing some great stuff. Okay. So your homework, should you choose to accept it, is to go into System Builder, okay, and do that feeling safe document and the goal review thing, and then go and again look at your Clarity 24-hour action plan. And just go and put aside a couple of hours for you and your business. Okay, you've been working flat out for everybody else's businesses up to now. So if you can have a couple of hours where you can just go somewhere quiet and go and think about this is really important for you. Brilliant. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Really appreciate you coming. And I'll see you all next week at 12:30, I hope. Brilliant. Okay. Thanks, everybody. You take care.